Hey guys, it's Justin and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to increase your credit score. And I'm going to show you guys 5 ways how you can increase your credit score right now, even if it's bad, or if you're in the middle, or if you're high and you just try to boost your credit score even higher. Before we get into it, I want to talk about the sponsor of this video, Aura. If you're like me and love saving money, you probably shared your Netflix password with your friends and family. And statistically, the average consumer has 90 accounts. It's most likely that you don't have 90 different passwords to go with each one. So if someone has one of your passwords, they probably have access to your other accounts. This can make you and your accounts extremely vulnerable to things like identity theft and fraud. And if you think that won't happen to you, just know that American consumers lost $56 billion from identity theft in 2020. And that's a lot of money. This is why I've partnered with the sponsor of this video, Aura. Aura is an identity theft protection, fraud monitoring, a VPN, password management, and antivirus software all combined in one easy to use app that monitors the dark web for your emails, passwords, your social security number, and quickly sends alerts right to your phone and email. I've dealt with fraud and I know with fraud, every second matters. I love Aura because it can connect to my credit and bank accounts and notify me of any changes up to 4 times faster than Aura's other competitors. Aura's VPN allows me to stay anonymous online by keeping my browser history and personal info safe and encrypted. And the best part is that Aura's antivirus software will block malware and viruses before they infect devices. Aura found my personal information on the dark web 5 times in the past 2 weeks. So stay safe and start your 2-week free trial today at aura.com/justlean. Once you sign up, don't forget to comment down below how many times your personal info was found. Back to the video. So before we go into the tips, I want to show you guys what really goes into your credit score. So there are 5 categories that affect your credit score, and the most important one is going to be 35% of your credit score, which is your payment history. This is going to be your most important, where it's going to talk about your past credit. Is it paid or is it not paid? Have you paid on time? And those are just from histories of your payments that you make. 30% is going to be the amount owed. Now this is how much credit you're using, right? If you're using more credit, then obviously you're going to be a high risk for lenders, so your credit score will go down. So they want to see how much credit you're using, if it's 10% of your credit, or if it's 90% of your credit, or just 50% in the credit. And 15% is the length of your credit history. Now this is going to be how long you have had your accounts open for. So this is going to be for more of those that have held their credit accounts open for a long period of time. And obviously if you're a beginner just starting, you're not going to have a big credit history, but that doesn't affect your credit as much as the 35%, but having a longer length does affect your credit score. Now 10% is credit mix. Now this is the type of credit you have. It could be credit card, or it could be a mortgage, or it could be a loan, or any of those is all mixed into your credit for the lenders to see. And 10%, and the other 10% is going to be your new credit, and this is going to be for those inquiries of new credit cards or new home loans or hard credits pools or stuff like that goes on your history, and that's what affects your credit score. So let's go on to the first tip of how to improve your credit score is by asking to become authorized users. Now another word for this is called credit piggybacking. Now credit piggybacking is basically when you use someone else's account and you are listed under their account, and their credit actually goes through your account. So basically what would be is if you had any family or friends or anybody that you trust in the realm of finance, you would co-sign or join or do an open joint account, and you just simply go under them. You don't need to pay their bills. You don't have to do anything. You just list yourself underneath as an authorized user, saying that, hey, we agreed that whatever he owes is what I'm going to own. Make sure you know who you're going to be underneath, because if you have a friend that is spending a lot of money, then obviously that might not be good. Somebody like a mom and dad who always pays their bills on time, has a mortgage, you should look to be under. Now this is actually a really good instant way to increase your credit score, because they have all these credit histories, and if they have good credit and all this will actually be reported onto your account of your credit. So it's actually a good way to boost your credit score instantly. Now tip number 2 is going to be transfer your credit card debt. Now for those of you who do have credit card debt, you want to control this debt as soon as possible, because one, your credit score, 30% of it is going to be how much you utilize of that credit. Now if you have credit debt, it's going to afflict onto your credit score, so you want to control it as soon as possible. So the best way you can do this, if you don't want to pay the interest rate that you're paying right now on that credit card, is to find something called a balance transfer credit card. Now the one that I saw online that was having a lot of good reviews and looked like it was a good one is a 0% intra APR with no annual fees, which is the Wells Fargo Reflect card. Now, basically what you do is you open up this credit card, you transfer your debt into this credit card. That way that you can pay 0% APR and that you can pay it off quicker than, let's say, if you had a 30 to 20% APR on the previous credit card. Now, tip number 3 is if you do have bad credit, sign up for something called a credit builder loan. Now, this one is a little different because one, if you get a loan, usually traditional loans are gonna be like, hey, I want a loan for $10,000. Then they'll do a background check, run your credit scores, and they'll give you that $10,000 with APR, and you pay it back while you have the money. But this one is sort of like a backwards loan. So usually credit builder loans are only gonna be about maybe 500 to 1,000 or 2,000. It's gonna be small amounts. But what you do is you basically go and say, hey, I'm gonna take a loan for let's say $1,000. From there, they won't give you the money. What you'll do is you'll actually make your payments. And then once your payments are done or fulfilled that $1,000 that they needed, then you'll actually receive the loan amount. Now, the reason why this is good is because one, it's low risk. Anyone that has bad credit, medium credit, or high credit can all apply. And the thing about this that's really important is that one, once you make these payments, lenders will actually report this into your payment history, which is basically 35% of your credit score. So that way you can have a credit history of the payments that you made, even if you did have bad credit. All right, tip number 4 is going to be keep credit utilization rate low. Now, the rule of thumb for using credit should only be about 20%. The reason why is because 30% of your credit revolves around the credit utilization. So the more credit you use, let's say you have a credit line of altogether $10,000. And you use 7,000 of that 10,000 credit limit. That means that you're using 70% of your credit limit, which means that lenders are gonna think you're very risky because you're using 70%. Instead, what you would do is you would only use 20%. That way, lenders will think that, hey, he's a very responsible person when it comes to using credit, and he knows how to use his credit. Now, if you do have a small credit limit, then ask for your bank to increase your credit. And you can do this every 3 months. You would go to your bank, you can use their app. Sometimes it shows up in their app, or you can give them a call and ask them, can I get a credit card increase or credit limit increase? If they say yes, then increase it as much as you can. So that way you're utilizing as less and less, not because you're gonna use more credit, it's just so that you're using less of your credit limit. And that way it's good for lenders to know that you are low risk. All right, tip number 5, which is gonna be the last tip of today, is gonna be never close credit card account. I've seen this happen with my mom. My mom applied for a TJ Maxx credit card 10 years ago, and she doesn't shop at TJ Maxx anymore. So basically what happens is she said, I'm gonna cancel it. And back then I had no idea, and I thought that was the right thing to do. But later on that I knew, you should never close your accounts because one, when you do close these accounts, these are payment histories that are in your account. When you close it, all of a sudden now it disappears. That means that probably you have a less credit history, which in turns will drop your credit score a few points, or could be 10 or 20. So you always want to make sure that you never close any of your credit accounts. That way your previous credit history will still be on there. And if you do have a credit card that you don't use, just keep it open, or if not, try and see if you can replace that credit card by going to the bank and seeing if you can get a newer credit card with something that will give you more benefits. So if you have a credit card, let's say that you got 10 years ago and it has like 1% cashback and everything, but you also know that you don't use it, and you check on the website saying that there's a same bank credit card that's 3% cashback. Ask them if they can change that. That way you can use that credit card, you can just hold on to that credit card. Never close any of your credit account. All right, guys, well, that's the 5 tips that I have for you guys. I would say if you do have bad to medium credit, try and see if you can get a credit loaner bill. See if you can get a transfer credit card. You can always do number 1, ask to be an authorized user. You can use anyone, maybe in your family. I would suggest maybe family, your mom and dad, because they have more years than you on that credit. And if they do have good credit, then always ask to be on an authorized user. But you can also use it when you purchase a car, or when your family purchases a car, or if you pay rent, then try and see if you can get onto their rent bills and stuff like that. And number 5 is just that number 1 rule where you should never close any credit accounts. All right, guys, hopefully those are 5 tips that you guys sort of or never heard of. Hopefully you thought this video was informative and you apply these rules so you can get a better credit. That way you don't have to pay more in interest rate and you can get great rates later on when you buy a house or a car or anything like that in the future. So with that being said, if you did like this video, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.